Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Chris. I am a saxophonist based in the Los Angeles area, and I also consider myself a menswear enthusiast. So if either of these things appeal to you, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below so you will be able to see more content in the coming future, whether it's a performance video or something like I'm discussing today, a style-based video. So, if you haven't recognized the title already, yes, I am finally making my final comparison of Allen Edmonds and Alden shoes now that I have worn both pairs on my feet. Granted, they are slightly different pairs of shoes, and I will get into that in just a second. If you haven't seen my other two videos, those will be in the description below. So the first video I released on the matter was a black cap toe Oxford comparison. So I had two Allen Edmonds options and of course one Alden option, which you see here. The two Allen Edmonds options being their famous Park Aves and their Independence Collection Hopkinsons. And of course, Alden, like I said, their number 907 straight tip Balmoral Oxford, though I would like to clarify that a Balmoral Oxford is very different from a cap toe Oxford. Both may have caps, but a cap toe Oxford has a regular vamp. A Balmoral, similar to a Balmoral boot, actually has this leather piece going all the way around the shoe. So it would look like this upper half is divided from the lower half. And of course, my second video, I tried the shoes on. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to try out the Park Aves, though I based as much of what I could remember about the Park Aves when I tried them at my local Allen Edmonds store back in February 2020 before everything closed down. And of course, I was able to try the Hopkinsons and the Aldens on my feet to be able to know exactly what those feel like. So again, if you're interested in seeing either of those videos, go check out the links in the description. They will also be linked above here in the corner. However, if you want to get the quick one over on my final thoughts about this, after having tried them on here on my feet and not be able to go through both of those 30-minute long videos, feel free to stick around. I'll give you all just the details you need to know that I will go over. So why am I going over Allen Edmonds and Alden specifically? Well, personally, I feel like there hasn't been a worthwhile review of Alden shoes. I've seen a couple of videos, some that tour the factory, some that briefly talk about them, but never really an in-depth video. Plus, to top it off, both of these shoe companies are American. So the fact that I haven't seen any discussions between these two, let's call them heritage American dress shoe companies, is very odd to me, and the fact that no one has really compared them, because I see a lot of Allen Edmonds videos, but I haven't seen too many Alden's videos or videos comparing the two. And the second reason why I'm going over these two companies is because I have a narrow foot. I have a US B width foot, B as in Brian, meaning I have a narrower foot than most. Because I have this B width foot, my options are already limited to me, meaning I can't get shoes like from Beckett's Simonon, Ace Marks, or Cobbler Union, because unfortunately they may have narrower lasts, but if my foot can't fit in them and they don't explicitly say it's for a narrower foot, it's not worth it for me to drop that kind of money. I have had bad experiences with regular size shoes and my feet just really killing me at the end of the day. Now, granted, that could be because one of the shoes I have that kind of experience with is a pair of Florsheims that I got from Men's Warehouse. So, of course, it's a cheap shoe. I got it on clearance for $80. But again, like I said, it could be just because that shoe is cheaply made. These, on the other hand, you're spending a little more money to get a little more shoe. And I'll talk about that in just a second. Now that you know exactly why I'm specifically comparing Allen Edmonds and Alden, let's get right into the video. But before we get too far, some of you may be wondering, why aren't you comparing black cap toe Oxfords like you did in your first two videos? And why are you comparing a pair of double monks to a pair of black cap toe Oxfords? Aren't they very different shoes? Yes, I will agree with that statement. However, my personal experience from what I've noticed from the Allen Edmonds shoes I have tried over the course of the last year is that their dress shoe quality is fairly similar between shoes. Meaning, I noticed that between the Park Avenues, I noticed that with the Hopkinsons, and I'm noticing that here with my pair of St. John's, which I am a proud owner of. And because I've compared black cap toe Oxfords already, there's no need for me to re-compare them once again when I don't have the chance to be able to wear them out in public unless I fully buy them and I'm willing to eat the cost. Also, keep in mind that these are my experiences and your mileage will be very different from mine. Also consider that I am specifically talking about Allen Edmonds and Alden shoes. I have zero experience with their boots. So like I said earlier, if you're not interested in hearing my more in-depth videos about Allen Edmonds and Alden, I will knock out the main points here that you will need to know about these two shoe companies, which I think are pros and cons for each. So let's get into those. Let's talk about the Allen Edmonds St. John double monks first, but more specifically Allen Edmonds. The biggest pro that Allen Edmonds has is definitely the wide selection of shoe sizes and widths. Now, I want you to keep in mind that these extended sizes aren't necessarily available for every single shoe that they offer, but the fact that they do offer from a size 5 all the way up to a size, a size 16, and offering widths from quadruple A, which is ridiculously narrow, we're probably talking about a child's foot at that point, all the way up to a triple E, which is the widest possible size available insofar as I'm aware in the United States. That is a ridiculous selection. Obviously in the good sense of the word, but keep in mind, if you do have those ridiculously wide feet, if you do have those ridiculously narrow feet, if you are smaller than a size 8 or 9, if you are larger than a size 13 or 14, Allen Edmonds has you covered, and that is a ginormous benefit and definitely a good reason to give Allen Edmonds a lot of praise. In addition, Allen Edmonds are relatively affordable for what they offer. Now I say relatively, we'll get into that in just a second as to exactly what I mean. But when I on the surface, their shoes tend to be offered around the $400 range. And if you decide to go for the Independence collection where they decide to use better materials and all that, you will spend a bit more money to get those shoes. Now, $400 is still a bit pricey for those of you who haven't decided to invest in dress shoes. That's okay. But $400, like I said, it sounds steep, though it is a good point considering, it's a good point to start considering that some other dress shoes, like my Aldens, are over $500. And there are even more out there that cost even more than that, which offer shoe sizes that fit me. Now, to go over some cons, and this first point may or may not be different just depending on what may or may not have happened with the pandemic. However, my very first point is about the sales that Allen Edmonds offers. Their shoes are typically on sale And while that's not necessarily a bad thing for the consumer, considering you will be spending less than $400 for the shoes, I personally think, and Preston Soto also reinforces this in one of his videos, which I will link up here, and that means that the final cost out of the factory for their shoes is probably in that $200 ballpark. Is that inherently a bad thing? No. Again, still better than the cheap shoes you will find at either a Men's Warehouse or a Joseph A. Bank at your one-stop shop. And of course, because the shoes are offered at the price they are, whether on sale or not, their quality control isn't as tight as it used to be. I do go over this in one of my other comparison videos between Allen Edmonds and Alden, though I will give you the point here as well. Allen Edmonds pumps out 5,000 pairs of shoes per day, and they get around 4% returns, meaning that's a large amount of returns. Not only is it returns, it is also seconds quality shoes, which aren't up to snuff, according to the company. That still means we're talking around 20 pairs per day that are either returned or are seconds quality. Meaning over the course of an entire year, we're talking squarely right around 7,000 to 7,200 shoes in an entire year. Now, to touch on some of the quality control points that I'm talking about, let's use my St. John's as an example, and something that I even talk about in my previous videos. The first thing I want to show is the toe cap. You see that little bit of squish in the cap? Some people would say that's not necessarily a good thing, and I agree with that, because you can see right there, let me see if I can get the camera to look at it. You can see that the cap right here is creasing. Some people don't like that sort of aesthetic, and they would prefer that it's not on the cap, but on the rest of the shoe is okay. And to show my Aldens by comparison, you don't see any sort of creasing. You might see that line because of the manufacturing, but if I do this, there is zero squish in the toe cap. Now let me get my St. John's again so that way I can give you a better view. You can see my finger depressing into the shoe a little more. In addition, if you look right here along the heel block, you can see some excessive stitching, and I personally think some of that is welt stitching, because some of it doesn't feel like fabric stitching. It feels a little more like a nylon. Now, the welt stitching is slightly exposed, or at least I think it's the welt stitching. Again, that goes back to the whole quality control. And I said for the price I paid on these shoes, I'm not going to complain about it. If I were paying more, then I'm going to be a little more frustrated. And last quality control thing I want to talk about is, it's not on this shoe, it is on the other shoe. So if you look a little closely, let me get this straight up and down as much as possible, the shoe. If you look here, you can see that the medallion looks slightly lopsided. It's a little more towards one side, and it's just tilted a little bit. Now, do I think Alden has that issue? Possibly. Can I say that they definitely have that? I can't say unless I try their shoes out. In the future, I do plan on getting a pair of Alden number 908 semi-brogue cap-toe Oxfords, which I will hope to show you all in the future. Granted, right now, it's not the time for me to get those shoes. And the last point I want to make is that the outsole definitely looks like it's taken a bigger hit, and it frays a little more. If you look a little closely at the tip here, it's also been along the sides. If I grab my other Allen Edmonds shoe, You actually don't see similar fraying, but you can, if you're nitpicky, you will see some fraying alongside the edge of the leather outsole. Now compare that to my Aldens, where you see minimal to no fraying, and it just looks like the dye's been taken off of the outsole. Again, a quality thing that's still up to you as to what you would like out of the dress shoes you want to get. And now that we've gone over my Allen Edmonds St. John's, let's go over my Alden number 907 Cap-Toe Oxfords. So let's begin with the pros. First one being is their high amount of quality control. Alden definitely, because their shoes are not frequently on sale, which obviously it sounds like a bad thing initially. But on the other hand, Alden is getting the full price for their shoes, meaning that they have a greater ability to be able to quality control their shoes. And I want to touch on a point that I made just a second ago, which is the solid outsole. It doesn't look like it's been affected much, if at all. You notice little to no fraying alongside the edges of the outsole. The leather uppers are amazing. The insole is good. Again, I'm not going to knock Allen Edmonds because I can wear those all day and my feet don't feel like death at the end of the day. And I can speak very much the same for my Alden Cap-Toe Oxfords here. And one last pro I want to mention about the Aldens, because I've gone over most of the shoe details already and I don't want to go over those too much more, is that Alden offers 2 shoe bags instead of one big one that Allen Edmonds offers. Again, that's a personal taste kind of thing. Some people prefer 2 shoe bags because one shoe will not scuff the other, which you may get from an Allen Edmonds bag, but some people may prefer the convenience of the one bag that the Allen Edmonds offers. That, again, it's all a personal taste, a personal choice kind of thing. Now, let's roll into the cons. I already mentioned the first one, being that these shoes are rarely on sale. So you are almost always, for Alden's dress shoes, you're almost always going to have to fork over $500 to $600, or even for their Cordovan shoes, $700 to $800. Now, like I said earlier, Alden does have a greater amount of quality control. They're still not perfect. If you saw my first comparison video, you saw that the way a welt was put together on the Alden shoes that I had, it definitely did not look very good, and that would make some people mad because they paid a lot of money for those shoes, and they're wondering, why isn't it perfect? And I can say a sort of similar statement about my Alden shoes here. If you look here alongside the welt, you can see a hump right here, and same thing on, not here, but over here on both my Alden shoes. I'm not going to complain about it. It does look better than what I got from the first pair of Aldens that I ever got to review on this channel. But there are shoe companies that make it look more seamless. But those shoes cost over $1,000. I only paid right around $600 for these shoes. Again, sounds steep, but well worth it, because these are going to last my lifetime as long as I can take care of them, and of course my feet still fit them for that matter. So in closing, which shoes do I like more? Again, this is a personal statement. Your mileage will vary from mine as to whether you own a pair of Allen Edmonds and not a pair of Aldens, or the other way around, you own a pair of Aldens and not a pair of Allen Edmonds. I personally prefer my Alden shoes, and I will be clear, I have worn these more than I have my St. John's. That's not because I hate my St. John's, it's because I'm still trying to figure out how I want to wear these shoes with some of my outfits, whereas with these, I will always wear it when I wear my charcoal suit, and whichever other darker suits, I should say, I will get in the future. And I want to be clear about this point, which I made in all 3 videos, this one and my other 2. I'm not speaking down about Allen Edmonds and Alden. Kirby Allison himself said in his Black Cap Toe Oxford comparison video that we should not speak of clothing in moral terms. Some of my favorite style figures, some of the people I've gotten to know in the style community, man, they are the most embracing. And they understand that this is a journey. Not everyone is able to get some of the things that other people are. If you're only able to spend a few $100s on a pair of dress shoes, that should still not stop you from getting a pair of dress shoes that is a few $100s. That is your choice. And we all go through different points in our lives where we want very different things, if not the same thing, throughout a good part of our lives. Personally, for me, I know that these are going to be my starting point, and I want to get better quality from here. This channel, for this reason, is why I want to post style-based videos. I want to show you all the journey I'm coming along, and I want you to join me in it. Not because I'm critiquing anyone else for what they choose to do. With all that out of the way, let me give my final points for each of these brands. For Alden, being that they are my favorite, it does wind up going back to their higher quality control value. Like I said, even though I'm spending more than $500 per pair of their dress shoes, I am easily getting a better pair of dress shoes where I'm not getting any toe cap creasing, and just aesthetically, as I go over in my other video, I feel like Alden has some of the best last definition that they have. Plus they do have a much more pointed toe on here than the Allen Edmonds, in my opinion. Moving into Allen Edmonds, I do want to make 2 points about Alden that I just want to be clear about to everyone. While Alden does have a higher quality of shoe because you're paying more for their shoes, Alden does not offer as wide a variety of shoes as Allen Edmonds does. And I'll talk about that in just a second, but that is one of the big points. Another big point is, even though I will get a good amount of mileage out of this outsole when compared to Allen Edmonds' regular outsole, Allen Edmonds cordovan shoes, those shoes have JR outsoles, which are oak bark tan compared to drum tan for these. The oak bark tan shoes will invariably last longer than a regular drum tanned shoe. While I'm unable to speak into more details on that difference, I would like to refer you all to a video and maybe a few others if you're interested in learning more about JR outsoles, because they are very widely talked about in the shoe community as the gold standard outsole. So if you're interested more in learning about those, I will link a video up here in the cards and also down below in the description. With that in mind, like I said, Allen Edmonds has a bunch more options than Alden. For example, Allen Edmonds offers double monk shoes. Alden only offers a single monk strap shoe. Personally, I like the look of a double monk compared to a single monk, which it would have been just this top half of the buckle. And my final point is that Allen Edmonds, as I said earlier, their shoes are frequently on sale. If you're into that sort of thing and you don't want to pay $400 for a pair of dress shoes, Allen Edmonds has their shoes frequently on sale. I mean, heck, they have their Father's Day sale going on as of me recording and posting this video. Meaning that you will spend less than $400 for their dress shoes at the end of the day. So if that doesn't sound appealing to you, that's fine, but just know that if you want to get a really good quality pair of dress shoes, that Allen Edmonds is the first option that I think of. Granted, if you have a normal size foot, a D width, a US D width foot, then of course you will have more options than me, as I stated earlier, to buy more quality shoes for similar, if not lower price than these Allen Edmonds shoes, and same with the Aldens. Again, it's up to you as what you think you should spend your money on. I'm not going to judge you for not getting Allen Edmonds or not getting Alden shoes. These are the options that I'm left with because of my narrow foot and not too many sellers, especially direct to consumer companies, like I said, such as Beckett Simonon, Meerman, and Cobbler Union. They don't have the options for narrow feet, and if they do, it's probably not narrow enough for my foot. A dress shoe should fit relatively snugly on your foot with little to no excess space in them, and I've been getting that from these two dress shoes that I never experienced with the cheaper shoes that I have owned over the last however many years at this point of me performing music. So I'm very happy with my investments that I've made in these dress shoes, in making sure that my feet don't wind up killing me at the end of the day. And I want you to be going on that journey with me as well, if you are interested in getting these. If you're not interested in dropping the money, whether just yet or not at all, that's fine. I'm not gonna stop you from continuing to do what you want to do. That's your choice. This is just what I'm left with, and me being a musician, me wanting to look and feel my best as I perform music, this is what I want to do. So thank you all for joining me in today's video. If you liked the video, please drop a like. I mean, heck, if you didn't like the video, please drop a dislike. That lets me know where I can be better. And same if you drop a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in seeing more music-based content, seeing more style-based videos, or if you're just willing to deep dive whenever I decide to post a vlog, I should say, not a blog. But anyway, thank you all again for joining me in today's video. I hope to see you all in the next video, where hopefully I might be a little more dressed up, but we'll see. With the summer coming around, it's getting a little warmer, gonna wanna get rid of the long sleeves and dress in something either a little more casual or a little more breathable. We'll see what happens. So, I hope to see you all soon. Thank you all for joining me in today's video, and I hope to see you all soon.